Zalick.
Here.
Trustee Giesers.
Here.
Trustee Fruzzoloni.
Here.
Trustee McCarthy.
Here.
Mayor Savarino.
Here. Please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of our June 19th, 2023 Village Board meeting?
So moved. Second.
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee,
Anselmo.
No.
trustee Anselmo. Clerk call the roll.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Giesers.
Aye.
Trustee Fruzzoloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Under our listening pulse, we have a resolution number 3316 honoring Joe Cotton Ford on 49 years of business and service to the Carroll Stream community. This is kind of unique. I had 3 phone calls of trustees that wanted to read this. And trustee Giesers, one flip of the coin.
Well, we can all read part of it. What do you think? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 3316, a resolution honoring Joe Cotton Ford on 49 years of business and service to the Carroll Stream community. Whereas in 1974, Joe Cotton became a partner in a new Ford dealership located in Carroll Stream at the northwest corner of Gary and North Avenues. And whereas from its opening in the late summer of 1974, the Joe Cotton Ford dealership has been a premier Ford franchise in DuPage County and the country. And whereas Joe Cotton, Paul Cotton, and their families, Tracy and Pam Cotton Kahn, in addition to their entrepreneurial spirit, cultivated a reputation of community service through their dealership's generous support of civic institutions and local causes of interest in the Carroll Stream community, including support of the Chamber of Commerce and Rotary Club, Park District, hosting school fundraisers, car washes and driver education courses, VFW, women's clubs, donation to food pantries and food banks, scouting program donations, Relay for Life, Christmas sharing program, local disaster relief efforts, and countless other charitable efforts. You want to?
Whereas Joe Cotton Ford received the Salute to Dealers Award from Ford Motor Company as one of the top 12 dealers in the country for their unparalleled dedication, for their generosity in giving back to their community, including their annual Christmas party for underprivileged children in Carroll Stream, where they handed out over 700 gifts from the award-winning Christmas sharing program over the years. And whereas Joe Cotton Ford support for local schools, youth organizations, and the greater Carroll Stream community by hosting car washes, fundraisers, and charitable donations, including car wash fundraisers, events at the dealership to help raise money for their sports boosters, and assisted the cheerleaders of Glenbard North washing cars to raise money for the American Cancer Society's Carroll Stream Relay for Life. This group teamed up with many others and ended up raising altogether $70,000 that year for Carroll Stream's Relay for Life. And
Whereas Joe Cotton Ford has decided to sell their dealership after nearly 5 decades of ownership and support to the residents of the village of Carroll Stream. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the mayor and the board of trustees of the village of Carroll Stream, on behalf of all of the former and present elected and appointed officials and residents of Carroll Stream. Section 1, that Joe Cotton Ford is recognized for their outstanding leadership and commitment to the Carroll Stream community and is wished happiness and continued success in their future endeavors. Zalick.
That Tracy and Pam Kahn and the entire Joe Cotton Ford family are thanked for their 49-year investment in the local business community and for their nearly 5 decades of generous support of the Carroll Stream community.
This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage as approved by law, passed and approved this day, 17th day of July, 2023.
I make the motion?
I'll second.
Moved by trustee Geezer, seconded by trustee McCarthy. Clerk, call a roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee Frusaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye. And Tracy and Pam, this is the first time ever that you've had somebody, we've all read a resolution.
Very first.
That's the first time that I've been up here in 20 years that we've ever did that. And thank you for everybody wanting to get us.
I think it was appropriate for a business of this magnitude and
Would you
what
like
they've
to
meant
say-
to our
come on.
community.
And you have to then present.
This is one of the nicest awards that we have ever given out. This is, it just tells you how we feel. Thank you. No, Brian. I'm gonna take it back because we wanted you to come up and take a picture with us.
Okay. I didn't really prepare any statement, but I just wanted to thank everybody here in Carroll Stream, from the police to all of the trustees, Mayor Frank Savarino, and everybody else that has helped us throughout the years. We're truly blessed. This was a sad day for both of us. Don't make me cry. This was a very sad day for both of us. It was a difficult decision for both of us. But based on everything in the direction of the business right now, it just seemed like it was the right time. I'm going to miss every single one of you guys, although I'm still going to be around. I'm still past president of the Chamber of Commerce, so I'm still around for the chamber. I'll be here for the outing. I'll still be around. You can't get rid of me that easily. But anyway, I just wanted to tell all of you thank you, because without you guys, we wouldn't have been in business, and we couldn't have done the things that we did. So, but it was important to us to give back to the community, which was something that Joe instilled into us when we were young. I was there 42 years. Pam was there pretty much her whole life. And so these were the things, you do these things because they're the right things to do. You don't do them for awards. I didn't do this to get this award. But, we were blessed and we were lucky, and we just thought it was the right thing to do. So I just wanted to tell all of you, thank you.
I'd just like to say thank you. You guys, Village of Carroll Stream, I've always told people how blessed I felt to be part of this community. I can't get much more than that, so thank you guys.
So, and she's a trustee in the Village of Lily Lake, so she has her meeting at 7 o'clock tonight. So.
And you guys did a wonderful job of carrying on what Joe and Paul did for the community and for people. I'm talking about not just business, but you guys carried on what was done and actually made it better. You guys were a pleasure to deal with in every which way, shape, or form.
Thank you.
And we'll all miss you guys.
Yeah.
So we'd like you to come up and take a picture
Okay.
with the board.
One side, the other side.
This breaks my heart to give you this goddamn thing. No idea. Never another chocolate chip cookie. Never another deal in a car. Oh, my God.
And I don't have anybody to put your phone to when I decide to fast. You want it in the box?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Thanks.
We expect pictures when you hang it up.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, Thursday I'm getting all the other pictures that were all over the walls. Yeah,
Through the years, how they've had those signs of how many cars certain people, and it's like most everyone here, and I see people out there.
Yeah.
Our families through the years have had multiple.
I think we were up to 24.
You were young.
I was young.
Young when your dad started.
I know.
We started with
I was young when your dad started.
Exactly.
a 74 Mustang and a 75 Granada.
Jeez. You're showing your age.
Now we know.
No, that was my parents.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Outside of doing things for the community, though, the one thing that always kind of strikes me, that I always remember, the first time my daughter went in to buy a car, they sat down with her and explained everything letter by letter. You know, I was in there I was gonna be the dad and cause problems, and I literally didn't need to, because they said, well, this is what we do, and this is how it is. And it was just wonderful how they taught my daughter how to buy a car without being rude, without being, and hey, everybody's supposed to make a little bit of money, but we're not gonna make it all on you. And it was just wonderful business practices.
Next thing on our agenda is a check presentation to local food banks from Geek Inc. Comics. And anybody that attended Geek Fest knows what that's about, so would you please come up to the podium, please?
How you doing?
Good.
Good. Well, my name is Andy Bakarm, owner of Geek Inc. Comics. This was the second year we did Geek Fest, helped us out, you know, with the vendor part, and corresponded with the Taste of Carol Stream, and it was great. And this year I had a little donation for the food pantry, so we raised $250 for the food pantry at Carol Stream.
Very nice.
Look forward to bigger and better things every year and raise as much as we can every year. So,
Awesome.
Thank you for what you did to help make this a fantastic event the last couple of years.
absolutely. Wanna,
You want to get a picture?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Come on up. Don't give her the check. Wait a second. There it goes. Thank you. Every dollar helps.
yes, absolutely.
Just to let you know, that $250 turns into a value of somewhere between
Oh, that's great. Well, we want to
So that's,
up it every year.
that gets a lot of food.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't know if everybody heard what Trustee McCarthy just said, but when the food bank gets money, they buy food from Northern Illinois Food Bank, and it usually is 7-1, so that $250 turns out to be 7 times as much, so that's pretty nice. Okay, the next thing on our agenda is Representative Santalatero, Constituent of the Month for June Award to Denise Simone. I think, if I'm correct, is this the first time you've ever given this award out, Representative? Come on, take the podium.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Frank Savarino and trustees. So when I got elected as state representative, I decided that I wanted to give back to people, or people should be recognized for the things that they do. And a lot of times we have a ton of volunteers within our communities that don't ever get recognition for that, or they help out a lot and people don't recognize that. And I know that they don't do it for that reason, but I was hoping that if you recognize people that give back and people that are putting their heart into their community, it might help generate one more person to stand up and help with the community, and it would grow from there, hopefully. So I started this in March, right after I got elected. It took us a month or so to put it together, but what we did was we went and we had an email that went out and let people know that you could nominate people throughout the district. And so monthly, we pick someone, and we've gotten plenty of nominations, but for the month of June, we decided to go with a nomination that Frank Savarino, Mayor Frank Savarino, had sent in for one of the constituents, and I personally already know this person based on things that she has done. But this award goes to Denise Simone. She is an outstanding person, not only because of everything she does, but I do want to read your words that you had sent in, and they were very touching. And I want Denise, Denise, could you
Her
come up here
husband.
and stand with me, please?
Of course she does.
Let's give it up for Denise.
Denise just hates this.
I don't know which way to turn, but I'll just turn this way.
I know she does.
So the words that Mayor Frank Savarino had sent in were the following.
Move that mic around.
Sorry. God, he's so bossy.
This isn't spring.
Denise has been at the forefront of all fundraisers over many years to benefit veterans, seniors, Relay for Life, Glenbard North scholarships, and many other needy causes in and around Carroll Stream. Her expertise and hard work make a big difference in helping our local organizations. She is the first person they turn to for help and advice on how to put together a successful event. She also began bringing her children along so they can too also learn the art of giving back. Those words are so powerful. The fact that you bring your children, you're such a wonderful mother, and you're a role model that I want to be. I want to be someone like you, and I want you to know that it is such an honor for me to give you this award. No one is more deserving, and I hope that this can grow, and I hope it inspires other people to stand up and take a stand for our communities, because we need to make this a great place to live, work, and raise our families for generations to come, and we just thank you so much, and you deserve every bit of this. Thank you, Denise.
Her husband's here too, and believe me, he plays a big part.
He's like, no.
Come on, Bobby.
We get
Something real quick.
Yes. Oh, she would like
No, both of yous come up. Oh,
Can I say, no, because
Oh, yeah, she wants to talk. Let her.
really?
I don't talk often, so, you know. I'm not good at this for some reason in front of a microphone. I want to thank you for the award. I want to thank you for the nomination. All of you have always been there to support our events. I feel guilty taking it because I have so many people who actually are all here today, surprisingly.
Right?
This, like, yeah, like all of them are here.
But the squad always needs a leader.
I did not know that they were all showing up, so I am very honored and humbled. But they are all a big part of what I do to accomplish what I do. If it wasn't for my family putting up with me and all my friends, I gave them the summer off because we had 3 fundraisers in 12 days, and I didn't realize that. So they needed the summer off from helping me. Yeah, that's it. And you guys as a board have always been there to help. Mr. Severino, you're the first one to step up to support me, so I appreciate what you do. But over the years, I've lived here 48 years. It's the best community ever. Everybody steps up to help everybody. And over the last couple of years, all of us throwing events have started to help each other with one event or another, which, you know, is amazing. And with that, we've had great success. And like she had said, I hope our younger generation step up now to know what's important. My kids, you know, they don't have a choice, but no, I'm just kidding. They're great about everything. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Before you come up here and take the picture, I have to say, my daughter Jennifer and Denise have been friends since they were young children. When we lived on Papoose, that was 47 years ago. They actually grew up together. Denise is the driving force for the Savarino Foundation that we started for my son Dominic that passed away to give scholarships out at Glenbard North and to the community of Carroll Stream. And because of Denise, we've been able to raise money and give nice scholarships out this year. We gave 6 or 7, whatever, over at Glenbard North. And to me, she's like family to me. I watched her grow up, watched her family grow up. To me, this is what Carroll Stream, in my opinion, is all about. It's people like Denise and the people that volunteer and give their time up for other people. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Thank you. I could almost cry myself.
Same to you.
Because who you've turned out to be, the woman that you are today, is phenomenal. And you've got a beautiful family. So thank you for all you do.
And there's nobody more deserving than that award you're holding.
Does your husband want to join us? Come on, Bob. You selling raffles?
Hold on, let me fix my hair.
Me too.
Now, somebody suggested we get the squad up here.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
Matt's right.
I love it.
Squad's always there. Come on.
These are my, these are all of you.
All of you, come
Diane,
Bobby.
Diane and Michelle and Darcy are right under there.
You guys can go in front. You guys can go in front.
These are the Glencore North boosters. I can't say what we call ourselves, we're the BBs, let's put it that way. This might never happen again, so if I die, it's fine, you gotta kneel.
You guys kneel.
You see the picture, guys?
Make sure it's followed.
Yeah, it's never gonna happen again.
So Mayor,
Oh, yeah.
Not to make it short.
You know what? Enough out of you, Jolly Green Giant.
Where's Claudia? Smile.
You get,
Ready? 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, right?
Well done.
You get surgery on Saturday. It won't need
All right.
now,
uh-oh.
you're not, Denise, you and your squad are not, you don't have to stay. I mean, for the rest of the meeting. I mean, like,
Out of here.
I'm just glad everybody showed up. Believe me, thank you. The support is wonderful.
Love this shirt.
Your Honor, did we have anything that came in over the internet? No. Nothing on the, okay, no addresses from the audience? Nothing from the audience? Okay, we'll wait until they clear and then we'll get started.
You gonna tell them to get out now?
Get out of here. That worked.
Okay, is there a motion to establish a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee Anselmo, seconded by trustee Frizzaloni. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee Frizzaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read what is on the consent agenda?
Certainly. Board and Commission reports. Plan Commission Zoning Board of Appeals. Village of Carroll Stream, 500 North Perry Avenue, zoning text amendment, Unified Development Ordinance, UDO, miscellaneous modifications, recommended approval 4-0.
Yes.
Yes. Sierra Residence, 345 Shawnee Drive, fence code variation, recommended approval 4-0.
Yes.
Yes.
Owens Residence, 349 Shawnee Drive, fence code variation, recommended approval 4-0.
Yes.
Yes. Staff reports and recommendations. Approval of a temporary waiver from the sign code to allow site special event banners and a waiver of permit fees for the banner's intent, subject to certain conditions, for the 2023 Vet Bros Carroll Stream Animal Hospital Charity Dog Show to be held at Ross Ferraro Town Center on August 6, 2023.
Yes.
Yes. Approval of the purchase of 2 customized 8-foot by 40-foot storage containers from Container Sales Group in the amount of $18,688, which will be expended to the Asset Forfeiture Fund and will be used for overflow storage for police evidence that does not fit or cannot be safely stored in the evidence storage area located within the municipal center.
Yes.
Yes. Approval of the purchase of large water meters and supplies from Core in Maine in an amount not to exceed $40,000 pursuant to the provisions of Section 5-8-3B and subsection 5-8-14C of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances.
Yes.
Approval of the purchase of Brine Master SC-100-R automated unit from Brine Masters under Minnesota Purchasing Agreement Contract Number 222340 in an amount not to exceed $32,835 pursuant to the provisions of Section 5-8-3B and subsection 5-8-14L of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances.
Yes.
Yes. Ordinance amending Chapter 11, Article 2 of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances by decreasing the number of Class P liquor licenses from 5 to 4, Casey's Retail Company doing business as Casey's number 6518 at 870 West Army Trail Road, and increasing the number of Class PL liquor licenses from 3 to 4, Casey's Retail Company doing business as Casey's number 6518 at 870 West Army Trail Road.
Yes.
Yes.
That is ordinance number 2023-07-30. Ordinance amending Chapter 11, Article 2 of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances by increasing the number of Class A liquor licenses from 16 to 17. Legends Pizza LLC doing business as Legends Pizza, 158 North Gary Avenue.
Yes.
Yes. That is ordinance number 2023-07-31. Ordinance amending Chapter 16 of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances, Unified Development Ordinance, miscellaneous modifications.
Yes.
Yes.
That is ordinance number 2023-07-32. Ordinance approving a variation to allow a 6-foot tall fence in the rear yard and for fencing to be located approximately 20 feet away from the rear lot line, Sierra Residence, 345 Shawnee Drive.
Yes.
Yes.
That is ordinance number 2023-07-33. Ordinance approving a variation to allow a 6-foot tall fence in the rear yard and for fencing to be located approximately 20 feet away from the rear lot line, Owens Residence, 349 Shawnee Drive.
Yes.
Yes.
That is ordinance number 2023-07-34. Ordinance amending various sections of Chapter 10 of the Carroll Stream Code of Ordinances pertaining to business licensing and regulation.
Yes.
Yes.
That is ordinance number 2023-07-35. Resolutions. Resolution declaring designated shotguns surplus and authorization to dispose of the property to strikers for a credit towards purchasing additional 40-millimeter launchers.
Yes.
Yes.
That is resolution number 3317. New business, raffle license application, Carroll Stream Rotary Club, approval and waiver of the fee and manager's fidelity bond for a raffle event at the Charity Dog Show at the Ross Ferraro Town Center on August 6, 2023.
Yes.
Yes.
Proposed amendment to Section 13-2-37 of the Village Code, sewer line maintenance replacement.
Off.
Off.
All right, K2 has been pulled off. Payment of bills. Regular bills, June 20th, 23 through July 3rd, 2023.
Yes.
Yes.
Addendum warrants, June 20th, 23 through July 3rd, 2023.
Yes.
Yes.
Regular bills, July 4th, 2023 through July 17th, 2023.
Yes.
Yes.
Addendum warrants, July 4th, 2023 through July 17th, 2023.
Yes.
Yes.
Treasurer's report, revenue expenditure statements and balance sheet for the month ended June 30th, 2023.
Received.
Received.
That concludes the items on the consent agenda, Mr.
Is there a motion to put those items on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Geezer. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee Frusaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Is there a motion to approve those items by omnibus vote?
So moved?
Second.
Moved by trustee Frusaloni, seconded by trustee Zalick. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Geezer.
Aye.
Trustee Frusaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
So K2 was pulled off, I think, by two trustees. So it was trustee McCarthy and trustee Frusaloni, is that correct? I think you
Yeah.
were first. so-
Yeah, more, well, I pulled it off more for open discussion than anything.
Okay, open discussion, let's go.
Well, I do agree with what the board gave to us, I'm sorry, what the staff gave to us, which is a grant of up to 50% of repair replacement cost, service lines falling under the roadway, so no private property. This is sewer lines that run from the private property line to our main, which the way the ordinance is written, and from what I understand, many villages' ordinances are written, that a sewer line's private until it hits the main. And we're trying to find a way to make sure we can help without it also being a hindrance to the village as a whole. Things like this can explode pretty easily, depending on how many people their sewer lines from, but I do think we need to do something.
Next, anybody?
I agree with trustee McCarthy that we need to do something, and I don't have a problem with the $10,000, or, you know, the up to 50% to the 10,000. The thing that I want some clarification from staff for our counselor is, would it just be residents, or can we also do businesses, or can we not pick and choose, or do we have to do everything?
The way the code is written now, it refers to all property owners, and we didn't change that. So if the board wants to change that, that would be a decision you have to make tonight. It would apply to both.
Okay.
Yep.
Trustee Frusaloni?
So the question I have is, so the grant, is it reimbursement after the fact?
It is. The property owner would be required to secure a permit from community development. They would have to list who their contractor is, and staff suggests that we put together a list of approved contractors that we have worked with or that we know are licensed or legitimate sewer contractors or plumbers. And they would have the work completed either by directionally boring the pipe underground so that the road doesn't have to be disturbed, or excavating the roadway. We would do the inspections, make sure that the work was done properly, and then they would submit the invoice to us. We would review it, make sure everything was correct, and then we would reimburse the property owner 50% of the work up to $10,000. And of course, the kicker in all of this is a determination by the village that if this work wasn't done, the road would be in danger of collapsing, or there'd be some structural damage to village infrastructure.
And I think that's where the sticking point probably is because the current case that we have, that we've been talking about for the last month and a half or so, it would not qualify for this grant.
That is correct.
So even amending our ordinance is not going to help the residents that currently have asked for help in repairing the offset to their private sewer line.
Not in this one case. The current case is a 6-inch sanitary sewer line with an offset of about 2 inches, so that still leaves about 4 inches of serviceable line that's going into our service. and we couldn't make a determination that that was the cause of any backup. Staff felt that it may have been tree roots in the service line, because apparently the plumber did clear the roots that were in the service line before he can get to the offset. We televised the line, and there is still water that is flowing from the service line into the manhole.
And if it were to become obstructed again, would it then potentially qualify for this grant program?
If there were potential damage to the village roadway, yes.
Okay, and also just to bring up part of the conversation, so I had a conversation before the meeting with our village manager and with our village attorney, because a couple of the towns around us, they offer reimbursement based on infiltration and inflow issues. But we can't verify whether they actually have infiltration and inflow issues in these communities, nor can we verify whether we have inflow or infiltration issues within our community without doing testing. And we don't believe that we do, because we have had, over the years, we have fixed issues as we've come across them, but we haven't actually eliminated the possibility that we might have an issue.
That is correct. The two other communities that we looked at, Wheaton and Glen Ellen, are much older communities. And back during the early years, they had combined systems where the sump pumps and the storm sewers were fed directly into the sanitary sewer system, which caused an increase in flow that would need to be treated by their treatment plants. So their attempt was to identify all the cross connections that exist in those older homes so that they can get them off of their sewer system, which was the public benefit. Whereas in Carroll Stream, being a newer community, are less old than Glen Ellen and Wheaton, we don't feel that we have many, if any, of those connections.
Okay, and our issue still remains when in putting in an ordinance and being able to use village money to be able to make these repairs, is there has to be a public benefit. It can't just be a private residential benefit.
Correct. It can't be purely private. You can't use private or public funds to benefit a private property owner or individual.
Okay, that's the questions that I had.
And I actually have a follow-up after that.
Sure.
At one point, and we're using 6-inch, so there's a 2-inch offset. At what point do our smart people believe that it becomes an issue, that it becomes too much of a?
I don't know, maybe our village engineer can answer that. What is the smallest service line that we currently allow or have?
The Illinois code allows 4-inch service lines. So that would be the smallest sanitary service line that you would have.
So your question is if the offset became greater?
So if the offset became a half of inch more, it would become an issue then. If you got a 6-inch line and there's a 2-inch offset, you're at that 4-inch, right?
Correct.
So basically, if anything happens, it becomes a public good issue.
It would become an issue of clogging for sure. I don't know that it would affect the roadway.
It would definitely become a residential issue or a private property owner issue. I'm not sure that it would impact the road surface.
I think that's where we're having trouble understanding, is if it's not connected to the sewer, where is it going to? At some point, it's going to back up either it's going to go into the road, or it's going to, and then at some point, it's going to stop going into the road and it's going to go back into the house.
It would
It's not a tree root issue, correct?
Correct. it would likely back up into the home. Once it becomes clogged at the offset, there would be no more flow likely into the soil.
Wouldn't we worry about washout though, underneath the road? I mean, if there's an offset, at some point, if enough comes out on the offset, you'd have some washout, which would become an issue for the road. And you don't want you don't want the issue, you'd want to solve it before it became an issue.
And how do we determine that before it becomes that issue?
Usually you see gravel in the pipe or something that would identify that the trench backfill is being pulled from that void under the roadway and into the manhole or into the pipe. There was no evidence of any of that in this particular case.
But I guess the question is, so to Trustee McCarthy's point, so if this offsets another ½ inch, so now we're less than 4 inches of offset here. So if we now we have less than that, so now we're backing up into the road. How long does it take for us to be able to see that we're starting to impact the road and you're going to start seeing this going into the manhole?
You know, it really depends on the soil situation and how compacted it is. You know, if it's 40 years old and it's completely compacted, you might never get that. It would, I mean, you could have just a wall of solids there and it would not create a problem for the roadway.
But it would back up into the resident's home.
Yes, no doubt. And it would have to be corrected.
So at that point, are we saying it's the resident's issue because now it's become compacted under the road, but not causing an issue to the road, just because we got lucky that it got compacted in the road?
We're trying to define a public benefit. And that's, I think, where the stickler is, so.
Trustee Gieser would like to.
Well, the trustees Fusiloni and McCarthy made me think, what does the offset look like? Is it?
It's like a waterfall.
Is it water falling into,
Correct.
from the house into?
That's-
So there is, so stuff is getting into the soil underneath the roadway at this moment?
It's going into the pipe that's at a lower level, so it waterfalls into that pipe and then into our main.
Oh, so it's this,
Yes.
so it's going this way into the pipe, not this way into the
Correct.
soil?
No.
Okay.
And that would cause a backup if it was offset the other way, because everything would back up until it reached that level and was able to flow over.
Okay, so it's that way or that way, not this way or that way, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't know how long the offset's been like that. I mean, there's only so much information that we have to make this determination. I mean, it could have been like that for many years.
I guess so.
Have we ever had instances where we've had an offset that has created damage to the roads? Like, we're talking that we would have this grant that would,
It happens quite a bit with storm sewers. And you see settlements next to inlets and sometimes in the middle of the roadway, but I think it would be more rare for a sanitary sewer to cause a road settlement.
That's mainly due to the limited flow from residential homes. I mean, it's not like there's water constantly going through the service line. Whereas in a industrial service line, you may have more of an issue.
We just checked with the
Attorney in
It's okay
for
because
him to speak.
Yep.
All right, my name's Joe Pauling. I'm the resident. So we can't use residents' money to help one person, correct? Private person. Public funds. So like a culvert pipe that helps one resident, you can't use my taxpayers' money to fix a pipe, redo the apron with asphalt, put down riprap, make the ditch look nice, correct? And how did 25W153 Doris Avenue get swept under the carpet 2 years ago? Your engineer knows about it. We had a nice meeting.
can you explain what you're talking about, what you're referring to?
Yeah. So I work for Milton Township Highway Department. Doris Avenue is a non-incorporated, but that one house is incorporated Carroll Stream. The resident called us, changed culvert pipe out. It's
Carroll Stream's culvert pipe, therefore we called them. They came out, changed the pipe, re-asphalted his driveway apron, regraded his ditch, and put riprap in for one person. He's a dead end on Doris Avenue. Yes. 12-inch culvert.
Yes.
As part of the village's drainage system, then they did work to the village's system, not to the individual property owner.
They repaved. Well, normally, okay.
Well, if we
They're
tear up
allowing
an,
access to his property. Just like if I had, my driveway apron was destroyed, I would come, oh, can you guys re-concrete my apron? No.
actually, we would if we were doing work that caused it, we absolutely would.
Okay.
We do that now, some of the sidewalks are tore up.
Okay.
And if
And
it
then
takes the apron out, it
He
does
keeps
get.
talking about roots. Can you show me a picture of the roots? Because you did not talk to my plumber.
Well, if your plumber can show that to us,
But you
because that's
said
what
you
he
talked to
told,
my
that's what
plumber.
he told us,
He, who's he?
the plumber.
What's his name?
He talked to our water superintendent.
What company?
I'd have to ask him.
Are you talking about Mufil? And he talked to Cody?
Yes.
Mufil didn't do my work, and this guy doesn't even know who Cody is.
Well, I don't know if that's the plumber, but
That's interesting. You have footage from you guys cameraing?
I don't think he had video on his system.
No, you guys.
We have video of the,
Offset that you can actually, so they get like a visual instead of talking to it?
yes, we have video of the line from the manhole cover to the offset. We couldn't get beyond that.
And then when my plumber was there was gravel in the line, but we hydrojetted it out for the gravel. That was talking about how it's washing out. And it was in the bottom of the sewer all the way down.
So you're saying there's no roots in the system?
No roots in the system.
Well, if you have your plumber's name, we can contact him.
Absolutely.
Okay.
See, that was, and I don't want to jump in there because I have my own problem. We were under the impression, at least I was, that there was roots in the system. The roots were taken out and the flow is now flowing.
Right.
Because
No.
I have the same problem that you have. And
Okay.
I've been keeping my mouth shut because I don't want, I'm not influencing
No,
anybody.
absolutely, 100%.
So, I mean, I know I have a problem and it's under the street, but it is what it is. But in your case, where they said the roots were taken out and the flow, since the roots were taken out that aren't roots, is your flow flowing? Is it flowing?
That's all I can tell for right now. But like I said, there was a blockage, according to my plumber at the time, where there was an offset. So we had a backup right there. He cleaned that backup out and it was flowing. It backed up twice in our house. And it cost me $800 a pop. Well, you know how much it costs.
Well, I don't want to tell you what I'm.
I know.
Every
And
3
for
months.
me, you know,
we flush
that's,
everything out. And I'll be under the street too, so.
and now my insurance won't even cover us for any sewer backup anymore.
Did he say what the blockage was?
He said it was, solids, whatever.
You know what that is?
Well, I got 4 boys at home and, so,
But if we have the actual, if staff gets the actual, can actually talk to the guy who filmed it, that might actually help. If he actually has a piece of video
Does he
showing
have the
gravel
video?
and.
I don't know if he didn't save it on his SD, so.
Okay.
But he's got a camera that's,
Sorry, real quick. All right, so at this point, it doesn't, you're saying it's tree roots, we're saying how did the offset get there? That's what I need to know. Where did that offset come from and why is it there?
Sometimes the soil settles over 60 years.
Okay, so it's not supposed to be there.
Correct.
Okay, and how do we know that it's exactly 2 inches offset?
From the video that we took.
Okay, and so you're not taking responsibility, we're not taking responsibility, we'll just move forward. I mean, really. So, if this continues, my thought is an offset, what we saw, it was offset this way. You're saying it's offset this way. So that's something we need to look at. As far as we were concerned, it had shifted. Not like a waterfall, it had shifted
Side to side?
side to side. So when the picture I showed everybody from the very beginning was the pipe and the other pipe is over here. That's not a waterfall. That's just going. Now, yes, it's clear now, it's working. We paid all the money to clear it out. If it continues,
we're gonna play roulette and hope that it doesn't back up. But if it does, or the street sinks, then we're all gonna be here with the exact same situation, because I'll say, well, there's no tree roots, and you'll say, well, there's an offset.
So the picture
So
you're
where do we
talking
go?
about that you saw that's like this,
Yeah,
and the picture we said we saw is like
a
this.
waterfall.
Where are we getting these pictures from? Where's your picture at?
I can grab it on my.
You have it? Do we
But
have?
that was a still picture that was taken by a camera, right?
Yeah, from
So
the
how do
camera
you know
that
if
he
it
put
was
in
like
the line.
this versus this?
Because he cameraed it, we watched it on video, and we have the whole video. I mean, you can see, right?
I can find it, yeah.
Yeah,
And-
if you
but
have the
what I
video,
don't
that would
understand-
help.
The other thing is, how
So
could
you
you
do
not?
have video? You said you
Yeah,
didn't?
we have video,
Okay.
we have video. But how can you not get into the other side? If it's only a 2-inch offset, how can your camera not go in the other
The
side?
camera's not flexible. The actual camera itself isn't flexible. The line that feeds it is flexible, but if the camera head can't get through, it's not gonna be able to make the offset. It's 2 inches. And that's why your plumber wasn't able to do it either.
You're saying the camera's bigger than 4 inches,
Yes.
basically? Okay. Just clarifying.
Okay. I thought our plumber went through that.
Yeah, our camera was this big, so.
Okay,
So you got video. We have video?
We do.
We have video? I think that we
Somebody
need
needs to sit down and watch the both
is
of them.
somebody that understands video could maybe look at them and come up to a conclusion of if it's this way or that way, so we can go ahead with this.
yeah, and I mean, everything's flowing now because we cleared it out. But every time I flush, I say a little prayer that it's not, I mean, because 2 inches, 3 inches, really, when you're talking about sanitary lines, they shouldn't be open at all, correct? Right?
Correct.
Sanitary lines should not be open into the ground at all, waterfall or not, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take her home.
So I believe deal with Public Works on which contact should they use of getting the two videos together?
Jen can send it to me. She's got my email address. Or you'll probably have to hand deliver it because it's probably a large file.
Joe and Jen, thank you.
And then maybe at the next meeting, if we can get this done in a couple of weeks, we could look at it.
We'll take a look at it before then.
And I think we need to look at if the pipe shifts more and it becomes less than 4 inches, then we need to put that in the ordinance and look at it.
Yeah, what is the conditions of the ordinance? You said ours doesn't fall under the conditions, so what is the condition?
The condition is that there would have to be some public benefit if you didn't fix the repair, such as the road would be compromised and we'd start to see some cave-in, things like that.
And based on the video that they took where they're saying it's a waterfall, what they're saying is it's really going into the main sewer line. That's based on the video that our Public Works took. It's going from here straight into the main sewer.
Rather than into the soil.
Right, so maybe your video shows it differently, so absolutely.
We actually have some main lines that do have offsets like that, and we're not repairing them because they're working still, so. They are bigger lines.
Okay, so now we're gonna wait for the videos, we're gonna put the videos together, and then we're gonna come back
Yep.
next meeting? Does that give you enough time?
Yep.
Okay.
And if we can get the full unedited video, that would be preferable. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Ball's back in your court and back in Public Works' court, okay? Good.
But let's go ahead and, okay, what are we gonna do? I actually agree with how this is written, the amendment for the sewer line maintenance and replacement, because it does have to have a public benefit. It absolutely does. I understand. We can't spend money on private. That's why I'm good with how this sits.
So it's just a matter of us making a determination, is there a public benefit?
Right.
And that would depend on the
And
conditions.
each one's gonna be its own call.
Right.
Correct. And the one, I think, caveat that I'd like to add is if we do find that we have an instance where we have an inflow and infiltration issue, then it should be considered as part of public benefit then, because we have a cross connection somewhere that needs to be
Taking care of it early
taken
versus.
care of.
Do you
but
know
that
if you
would-
have a cross connection? Your sump pump goes into the sanitary sewer? Okay. That wouldn't work there.
But we may have a situation where we have a resident that does have a cross connection that may,
Correct.
this may
But we.
qualify for.
For 47 years, that's illegal to do that, isn't
It is. You don't have drain tiles that go into the sanitary? They're all going into your,
This was just on for discussion.
you're doing it the right way, yeah, okay,
That's
yeah.
it's illegal.
Oh, I know it's illegal, and I know people aren't supposed to do it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
So if they're doing it, then we should just pay for it to fix it? Is that-
Well, but this is what other towns are using as their reason for paying for it. So if
I
this is
think-
going to prevent us from being fined by,
Well,
We won't be fined.
we're talking about towns that
A
are
homeowner
70
would be
years
fined.
older than
Yeah.
Wheaton. I mean, Wheaton and, Lombard, these towns, West Chicago, they were when the Indians were.
Yeah, Carroll Stream was developed after this stopped becoming a practice.
I know Wheaton dug up half their town because of the problems that they had with the sewer system.
Yeah, I don't want to pay for fixing cross connections.
but here was the reason, this was the reason that I asked, is because we used to put money aside to fund overhead.
And there was a public benefit to it. I checked.
Well, and that also prevented flooding into their basements.
Exactly, that was why we did that, because the basements, or the crawl space is flooded, let's put it that way, and the basement's flooded. That's why we did it.
I'm just
We did it
asking the
because we were
question.
intimidated into doing it with the 100-year floods that happened every 6 months back then.
Just asking the questions.
Got it. Okay. Now, let me ask the attorney, is everything good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's the final thing is to make sure the attorney says it's all good. Okay. So
think
do
we
I
just
need
have
a
to give-
motion then?
Or do you just need us to say, yeah, go forward?
I think after we review the video, we'll bring something back to the board at the next meeting.
No, I mean for this one
For
in
the,
particular.
for the code amendment?
Yeah.
Yeah, we would bring that back at the August 7th board.
Okay, yeah, we're good with it, yeah.
So we go to report of officers?
Yep.
Okay. Trustee Berger's not here, so that means, well, we've got trustee Anselmo, you're first anyway.
Yes, sir. Hey, thank you, Paulings, for coming in tonight. We completely up here, all of us feel for you guys, and we'd love to do something for you. We just want to figure it out. It's been a few weeks since we've seen each other last. We've seen each other, but not here. So I do want to say, I didn't say this last meeting, but thank you to Trustee Geezer and your parade committee for running a great parade. That was a really good parade. We started out with the shaky weather, and it shaped out to be pretty nice. So it went smoothly, and appreciate all your work. I know you guys are done running it, but thank you for all your service all these years. Been attending the neighborhood roll calls every Wednesday. Chief Homer's been, and your team have been tremendous. I actually really enjoy going to them when I can. Trustee Frusaloni, Trustee McCarthy, Mayor Savarino have been attending as well. It's really nice to see the community come out and learn right from you guys of what's going on in the community and what to do. So seeing the kids come out and getting ice cream is good. They're getting friendly with the cops too, so. We did attend a ribbon cutting, welcome to Romatang Sioux Do Karate last week. Instructors Mark Oster and Pam Russell. They do martial arts classes for all ages. They are right next to American Sail on Army Trail Road. I wish them all the best of success. Our annual concert for the troops is this Thursday at Town Center with Seventh Heaven. Next Thursday, the 27th, is Breakfast Club, and that is our last concerts for the summer. It's hard to believe that already. Then we're looking at fall, so. Anyway, looking ahead to the 6th Annual Charity Dog Show, Sunday, August 6th. That's at 10 a.m. The dog show is got adoptions, giveaways, vendors, a dog run, agility courses, and lots of fun. And my brand-new puppy, Cooper, will be attending as well for puppy, whatever puppy class that is. So I cannot judge for him, but. And lastly, I will leave this as I have been the last few weeks, is please, everyone, watch your speeds as you're driving through and around town. It's kind of saddens me when I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing kids walking down the street or dog walkers and there's cars just flying by. So I just ask the community to watch your speeds going through town. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, trustee Anselmo. Trustee Zalick.
Well, I would attend the neighborhood roll calls, but I've attended enough roll calls in my time, and you have fun. The listening post, it is so Carol Stream with the generosity and just, I mean, we got businesses that have been part of our community for decades, and they're always so generous with whatever kind of worthy cause, you know, and then now we have a newer business, you know, Geek Incorporated Comics, and they're donating, and of course, you know, Denise, longtime resident, so it's very fitting, and it makes me proud to be a Carol Stream resident. So, thank you to all those, individuals and businesses. And there is a community shred event hosted none other than Senator Seth Lewis and Representative Jennifer Sineltro on
22nd.
Yes, the 22nd, Saturday, 1:30 to 3:30 at Bierman Park on Wood Lake. They're not taking electronics, but it's a shred event, so if you have any paper with important documents that you want shredded, it's a free event, so. And then let's just keep our thoughts and prayers to our military and our first responders. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, trustee Zalick. Trustee Giesers.
Thank you very much. I too want to thank those that were honored during the listening post. Joe Cotton Ford, as we mentioned, who hasn't purchased a car from there? And forget about that, all the great things they've done for the community through the years. So thank you to Joe Cotton Ford and the family for all you've done for the village and the community and all the programs that have benefited. And Geek Comics, it's great. You know, a new company. They've only been here, 5-6 years maybe at the most, and they're already here contributing, helping those less fortunate here in the community. So thank you. And the Geek Fest itself, as we've talked about, has turned into quite a premier event. And it's going to be better and better each and every year. So thank them for all they're doing, and to Denise Simone, she deserves that award. So congratulations to her for that. Trustee Anselmo mentioned the concerts for the troops and the final concert, but he did not mention the film. There will be a movie in the park on Brianna? August 3rd, and it's Moana. Who doesn't love Moana? It's great. So hopefully we'll see everybody out there. And also, I would like to thank Trustee Anselmo and thank all the board members and the mayor and the community and the police and Public Works and the staff for everything you did for the 4th of July parade, the Independence Day parade. It was a great event. People kind of lost their mind because it might rain. You know what? If there's, you know, you can walk in rain. It's fine. It wasn't a storm. Wasn't like last week. But it was a great event. So thank you for everyone. And a personal note to my wife, who's led the parade for 20 years. This will be the last year, the last parade. So thank you to her for everything she did and the parade committee team. So that is my report.
Thank you, trustee Giesers, and thank you for all the time that you and your family put in and complete the whole group that you work with.
Yep.
We're very proud of what you've done with the parade.
Well, there's a good team coming in, so we made sure that we wouldn't have stepped down until we had good people to take over.
Thank you. Trustee Frizzaloni.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, listening post was definitely one team Carol Stream. I mean, there's just no way around that. When you touch the residents, the businesses, and, you know, helping our community. As we mentioned, every dollar that we can give to our food pantries is really worth a lot of buying power through Northern Illinois Food Bank. Right now, to date, with our 50/50 raffles at our concerts, We've raised $945. So with that 7-to-1 ratio, that's really going to help a lot of families this summer. Food insecurity in the summertime is pretty big. People think usually around Christmas time and in the winter time about giving to food pantries. They forget about the summer months. So please bring your money for your raffle tickets. We're going to have plenty of them for our last concert. For the raffle for the troops, who are we doing the 50/50 for?
Operation Support Our Troops.
Operation Support Our Troops. So we have one more concert that will be going for our local food pantries. One event that you both missed talking about, shame on you both, is National Night Out, August 1st.
I saw it on your list.
So National Night Out is going to be on August 1st, and we have a new location this year, and we've extended the time a little bit. It is going to be at Town Center, because we're trying to expand the outreach and kind of get back to the roots of what National Night Out is really was designed for. It is to bring the community together with police and partners and communities and neighbors. And there's going to be food and music and inflatables. So please come out to Town Center on August 1st from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. and let's have a lot of fun and community. And then just the last thing that I want to mention is we've had some weird weather the last, I don't know if anyone's noticed, that we've just a couple of drops of rain, a little bit of wind recently. Great job by Public Works and the Police Department. There was a tiny little tornado that came through last Wednesday. Actually, if you look at the path, I was actually talking to Public Works Interim Director before our meeting. It's astonishing if you look at the path, because the tornado formed right over the baseball field at Glenbard North, crossed over the Western Trails subdivision, over Gary Avenue, then it made a left-hand turn and came down Fullerton and all the way through our industrial park. And it ended in Glendale Heights, basically at Camera Park. So there's a lot of ground that was covered by, even though it was an EF0 tornado, that's a lot of wind and a lot of damage. And those, going through an industrial park, those buildings usually are not designed for a lot of like wind damage. So it's astonishing that we just had some tree damage, not to minimize houses that were damaged, but at that time of day, dinner time, basically, we're just very fortunate that no one was hurt and that we didn't have like devastation in our industrial park. But great job by our police department, fire department as well, because they were out on Flint where we had that tree come down, and Public Works getting trees cleared from roadways. And then Friday, Mother Nature said, I'm not ready to be done with you guys yet. And then we have this weird storm that comes in at 9 o'clock at night with 60, 70, 80 mile an hour winds. So definitely Public Works has had their work cut out for them the last couple of days. But what we've noticed, and this is the disheartening part when you have bad storms that come through areas, is there are people that want to take advantage of our residents. And it started like immediately, like Thursday morning. I think it was like 11:30. I get my doorbell ringing, and I have a no solicitor sign right on my front door, and I have a gentleman at my door trying to give me an estimate for a new roof that I don't need, a new siding, because he claims from standing on my front doorstep that he knows that I have storm damage. And he was astonished that I said no and asked for his permit. And he insisted that he had one, though he could not produce it for me. So I did do the right thing, and I asked our village manager to confirm that they didn't have a permit, which they do not, and had the police come, and they had already left the area. But we did post on our social media outlets, every solicitor that is in our town has to have a solicitor's permit. And every solicitor, what that means is they go through a background check, a criminal background check, because while it may seem innocent enough to you, there are people that do want to take advantage of residents. We don't know if they're trying to take advantage of you monetarily or worse yet, if they're trying to maybe scope out who's not home, because a lot of people are on vacation and they might try and come back and break into homes later. It does happen, unfortunately. So please, if you see someone and they don't have a lanyard around their neck and have a bright yellow badge that is signed by the Village of Carol Stream, call 911. You're not disturbing the police. They would rather know who's in our town and who's supposed to be in our town and who's not supposed to be in our town, than to have to take a report for residential break-in or identity theft, or someone who has given thousands of dollars away to someone and is a victim of some kind of theft. So please be diligent. There is no reason why someone should be arguing with you, about wanting to give you an estimate and, well, your insurance company pays for it. Well, my insurance company actually charges me a deductible, so I didn't really feel like having to go through that. And if I felt like I had damage, I was going to call my insurance company first. I'm not going to have a 19-year-old kid standing on my driveway giving me an estimate based on what he thought he saw. So please, please, ask the questions. And if you want one of those no solicitor signs, come to Village Hall. They're right downstairs. Walk in. We keep them right on the desks downstairs. Just say, can I have one of the stickers? Put them on your door. It's against village ordinance then for them to come and solicit to you. So call 911. You're not disturbing the police. It's the only way to get the police to come out to be able to take a report. And I want to thank the police for being diligent. They came around our neighborhood for, 10, 15 minutes trying to find the company and to ask them to leave the area. So with that, I will end my report.
Thank you, Trustee Frizzalone. Trustee McCarthy.
I again want to congratulate the Joe Cotton Ford family for a well-deserved resolution, and understand that the resolution that was written, you only have so much time and so much room. There's probably 100 other things we could have listed of what Joe Cotton has done to help people and the community. Just a short example, when we had floods, at the time, Paul Cotton turned around and loaned a handful of people cars because their cars were underwater. He didn't rent it to them. He literally said, here, take this one, bring it back when you get your car back. That's who they are. So congratulations on whatever they want to do from here on out, but thank you for everything they've done. Geek Inc. Comics, thank you very much. That's awesome that another relatively new business comes in and says, well, we want to help too. So it's just great to see. Representative Senalitro's award to Denise Simone was well earned. She's been doing this forever, and she probably hated standing up here. She doesn't like to be given she doesn't want credit, she doesn't want attention. She wants attention to whatever it is she's trying to raise funds for. That's what she does. She doesn't want to talk about Denise. She wants to talk about whether it be the Dominic Savarino Foundation or Relay for Life or the Ride for John or whatever the case may be. That's what she wants things to be talked about, not her. So I'm so glad that this was given to her, and it's very well earned. Like I said, when we started our bags tournament, charity-wise and fundraising-wise, first person I went to was Denise, and she sat down and gave us tons of help. She gave us raffle prizes. She gave us advice. She gave us a lot of do's and don'ts, and we followed what she said pretty closely because what she does works. So again, congratulations to Denise. Rick and Kim, great job for the last 20 years on the parade. We did it for a number of years, so I completely understand the work that the committee does, but the behind-the-scenes stuff that you and Kim had to deal with, especially Kim being the chair. And it's a lot of work, and you guys should be proud of what's been accomplished in those 20 years. They've been great parades. And there's no but. They've just been great parades.
Thank you.
So you guys have done a great job, and congratulations. And I know the people you handed it off to, they're going to carry it on just like you guys have. That's the only reason, as you said, you guys would have walked away. And then last, the storms, Public Works Police, they were out immediately. to see how quickly I saw the chief and management of Public Works out, making sure everything was taken care of, that trees were cleared from roadways, checking on residents to make sure there were no major issues. We got lucky. There was a minimal house damage. There was a couple houses that got some damage, but nothing that made them homeless. Some siding missing from houses and maybe a little bit of car damage, but mostly, as everybody said, it was controlled down to trees. That tornado came right down where my street splits off with another, in between two houses, about 5 houses away. Took a tree down on one side of the street and took a couple trees down on the next side, and then kept going over to Kansas, and then did some damage on Huron, and then at Western Trails, but again, luckily, trees for the most part. But more than anything, I just, Public Works, police, how quickly you guys were out there, just making sure things were taken care of and everybody was calm. Well done. And I'm just glad that we're just talking about trees. Besides that, just, again, we've talked about speeding, and don't forget crosswalks. If somebody's in it, please stop. We still seem to have a problem actually stopping at crosswalks when people are in them. Kids don't always know, so it's our job to look out for them. So if you see a kid by a crosswalk, be ready to stop, because he may dart across thinking you're already stopped. Let's look out for each other like we always do. Again, the one team Carroll Stream was a perfect way to put it again tonight. We do try to always be there for each other, so let's do it all the way around. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Trustee McCarthy. Brian, I have a question for you before you give your, whatever you want to talk about. We had one where we canceled the band and they would come back. Are they coming back this year or next year?
So I have been in touch with the band, and unfortunately, the dates didn't line up for when they're available. We are looking to have them for next year, though, around the same time for the 4th.
Thank you. That answers my question. Go ahead with your report. I'm sorry.
Thank you. A few of you have already touched on all of our events, and I just want to reiterate that we have some really fun stuff coming up. So this Thursday, the 20th, we have our annual concert for the troops featuring Seventh Heaven, which is a regular favorite among the community. That's over at the Town Center starting at 7 p.m. We have Rocco Vino's and Culver's Frozen Custard selling concessions, as well as the Rotary Beer Garden. And as you have mentioned, we do have a 50-50 raffle supporting Operation Support Our Troops. So make sure if you're at the concert and you see someone selling tickets, pick some up and it'll support a great cause. Next Thursday, July 27th, is our last concert coming up already with the Breakfast Club, which is an 80s cover band. So should be a lot of fun. And again, that's at the Town Center starting at 7 p.m. Then on Thursday, August 3rd, we have our movie in the park featuring Moana. This will be at the Town Center, and we'll have inflatables, food trucks. We'll have a meet and greet with Princess Moana herself, starting at 6 p.m. that night, and then the movie should begin around dusk, which would be probably around 8:30. So make sure you bring the kids for that one, and it'll be fun for the whole family. It's a free event. And I'd just like to take a minute to thank our wonderful sponsors who help support all of our events. Without them, we couldn't really do what we do. And it's really great to see them out tabling at our concerts as well. I'd also like to thank our board members, our staff, volunteers, police, and Public Works do a phenomenal job helping out with these events. So thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, Julia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I believe everybody's covered everything I was going to say, but just to recap, thank you again, Trustee Gieser and Kim, for all your work with the parades. Like everyone said, great job. They're so much fun. Thank you, Joe Cotton Ford, for all those years of service, and I'm really going to miss Tracy and his wife. They're just wonderful people, but glad to hear that he's going to still stay involved in the Carroll Stream Chamber of Commerce. Greg's last vehicle came from them, and he loves it, so we are going to miss him, hoping that Hawk Ford is just as customer-focused as they are. And thank you, Geek Comics, for their donation to the local food banks. Congratulations to Denise Simone on the Constituent of the Month award. She really is deserving of that. Also, one thing I don't think anyone's mentioned, I did read this in the recent newsletter. Congratulations, Officer Pablo Castro, on being named School Resource Officer of the Year. I'm not sure how recent that was, but I remember reading that, and I think that's wonderful. Again, great publicity for our police department and well-deserved. Congratulations, Brianna, on a successful event season so far. I feel like the turnout for the concerts and Geek Fest was phenomenal. Unfortunately, this coming Thursday will be the first concert for the troops I have to miss. I'm going to be out of town, so I'm going to really miss that. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun, but I am looking forward to participating in National Night Out on August 1st. And with that, I'd just like to say shop and dine Carol Stream.
Thank you very much. Mr. Rhodes, our village attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of weeks ago, Chief Holmer received a letter commending certain officers of the police department for their actions in dealing with an arrest. And I know that the letter was provided to all of the members of the board, but I think it would be important to perhaps read it so that people in the village could hear what this attorney said. So with your permission, I'd like to read some.
Absolutely.
Thank you. The gentleman says, I'm writing to bring to your attention the exemplary conduct of some of your officers who were involved in my client's arrest. I have never written a letter like this in the 27 years I've been an attorney, but I believe it's warranted in this case. I watched the body-worn camera footage so I could clearly see and hear what occurred during my client's arrest. He was pulled over and given field sobriety tests and eventually was arrested after a struggle. My client was intoxicated and he was belligerent. I suggest you watch these videos because the actions of your officers were incredible. The patience and the kindness that your officers showed during this arrest was noticed and appreciated. My client himself watched the videos with me and immediately told me that he needs to apologize for what he did. One bad act by a police officer can define a whole department, but this one arrest by your officers distinguishes the Carol Stream Police Department in a positive way. These officers should be commended for how they handled the difficult situation with patience, kindness, and objectivity. Well done. Well done. One other thing I just wanted to mention, I may have mentioned this once before, but I bought my very first car from Joe Cotton. It was 1968 used Pontiac GTO.
Like to have that car.
Yeah, no kidding.
I sure would, and unfortunately, I haven't been able to locate any of the pictures that I have of that car from way back when, but it was a great car, and I really appreciated what Joe did when he sold me the car. Joe knew my dad, and my dad had bought a number of cars from Joe during that period of time, and actually, this was when Joe was the general manager of another Ford dealership before he actually moved to Carol Stream. So it was a really great experience for me. Lastly, I'm going to be on vacation next week for a week. So while I'm gone, Carmen Forte from our office will be available to handle anything that comes up with village staff. So I just wanted to mention that and let you know I will be gone.
Thank you, Mr. Rhodes, and thank you for bringing that letter up to everybody's.
You're welcome.
Sometimes we all feel that we keep throwing accolades about how good our police department is, and I think sometimes people think that we just say that because we don't really mean it, but we do mean it. And to have someone from the outside, even though you're our attorney and you're paid, no one asked you to read that. You were impressed, apparently, being an attorney, enough to want to read that openly, and I commend you for that. Thank you. Mr. Meller, our village manager.
Boy, there was a lot of stuff covered already. I don't know if there's anything else to be said. I can't remember if any, you want to go? I can't remember if anybody mentioned the fire hydrants.
No.
And why they're painted white.
What, they're white?
Yes. In which some people have commented it'd be pretty hard to find in the winter when it's snowing, but that's just a primer for those that don't know. The village has embarked on a fire hydrant painting program. They haven't been painting in a long time. We have about 2,200 fire hydrants in Carroll Stream. We're going to do a little over 400 a year for the next 5 years. So the white is a primer that goes on after the fire hydrants are sandblasted and all the old paint is removed, and then they will be repainted the traditional high visibility chrome yellow. So that designates the fire hydrant as a public water system. That's all I have.
Wow, thank you. So, well, I don't remember, and maybe Mr. Cleveland could answer this question for me. Did we ever do this much construction at one time in a matter of like weeks, like we put, I mean, stretched out over the summer? We got so many, no, I don't care which way you go, you'll run into construction. Is this the first?
Well, and it's combined with Army Trail with the county. But yeah, we've had some rollover projects from last year. We've got a lot of grant money that we have to spend within a certain amount of time. So, yeah, we're trying to do our best to manage what we can.
My God, it's amazing how much, all at one time. It's no matter which direction you go into. I never had any trouble going from one end of town to the other. Now I'm going on streets I never went on just to get away from the potholes and the stuff that they're doing, including in front of the house where I live. I mean, I've never seen it tore up like that, so.
I think a lot of it is catch up after the pandemic where things were not moving as
Standstill.
quickly as they are now.
Well, it's amazing how much is going on, so be careful when you drive. I mean, you got a lot of guys in the street, there's a lot of people in the street directing traffic with the stop and go signs. Some of them, I question how much education they had to do that, because they had cars coming at each other in the same direction. It's a little scary, but it all works out in the end, but hopefully we'll get through the summer okay. I can't believe we're this far along in the summer already to say we got one more concert after this one. Although there's a lot going on at the town center on the 29th, which I am sponsoring and helping, is Ride for John. It's all about fentanyl and people that are dying. They did this last year there. They had people from Washington DC. They had senators, congressmen. The Zender family, I think, is who actually is putting it on. And last year I helped them, and this year I've stepped up to help them even more. I am a big supporter of trying to get rid of fentanyl. Fentanyl is probably the worst drug ever because they lace everything with fentanyl. It just gets worse and worse. So on the 29th, if anybody's got some time and they want to come out, it's Ride for John. It's more motorcycle, a lot of Christian motorcycle, and a lot of motorcycle people will be there. They are wonderful to be around, and they're doing this for the right reason. So again, the 29th, and that'll run from like 11 o'clock. I think they kick off at some, I'm not sure what Harley Davidson dealer it is. It's out west, and then they'll end up back at the town center around 11. And it's a sight to see when they pull in, because it's one motorcycle after another, after another, after another. And they want to support and show support for this fentanyl problem that's out there. I attended about 4 weeks ago one meeting that Raja Kishamuti put together, and state's attorney was there, and they were there, and believe it or not, here's two motorcycle people that made more sense than everyone else in the entire meeting that were supposed to all be experts. When you lose a son to drugs, and you know that fentanyl killed him, you become an expert at what you're talking about. And that's exactly, it's not what they think somebody told them. This is exactly what happened to them. Ride for John. John is their son that this is for. And that's the whole reason that they're doing this. So I'm with them. I'm sure a lot of us will be out there. A lot of people from Carroll Stream are with that group, so looking forward to it. Other than that, this weather's the craziest weather I've ever seen. I mean, it rains and then the sun comes out and then it stops and then the wind blows and it gets worse and trees come down and then it's all gone like nothing ever happened. So as long as everybody's safe, that's the main thing. So enjoy the rest of the summer. Enjoy your vacation, Mr. Rhodes, wherever you're going. Have a good time. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by trustee McCarthy, seconded by trustee Frizzaloni. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Trustee Anselmo.
Aye.
Trustee Zalick.
Aye.
Trustee Giesser.
Aye.
Trustee Frizzaloni.
Aye.
Trustee McCarthy.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.